Hi guys, this is Erica from Gokce Capital. Now before I begin, be sure to click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. In 2015, several parents broke into the Malibu High School. Their aim? To take samples of caulking from the school's classrooms. So what was going on in Malibu? We'll find out at the end of this video. But first, if you plan to renovate or demolish an older building, you may want to complete an asbestos survey first. And in today's video, we have the top things you ought to know about this procedure. Number 1, what is an asbestos survey? An asbestos survey is a survey done on a building or structure with the purpose of identifying asbestos-containing materials. Number 2, why does asbestos matter? Well, you may have already heard, but asbestos can be deadly, and it is one of the top 5 health risks at home and work. When asbestos materials are damaged, asbestos fibers can be inhaled, and once in your lungs, they cause damage which may lead to lung disease and cancer. Number 3, when are asbestos surveys performed? Asbestos surveys are most commonly performed as an act of due diligence during commercial real estate transactions, or during the rehabilitation or demolition of a building. In fact, some states require an asbestos survey before completing work on a commercial building. In addition, if there are damaged materials present, it is a good idea to survey them for asbestos. And finally, some funders or lenders may require an asbestos survey depending on the transaction. Number 4, when is asbestos removal required? An asbestos survey will determine whether asbestos-containing materials are present in a building. If asbestos is found and it is damaged or is about to be disturbed, then that material should be removed in a safe manner. Number 5, which items often contain asbestos? Asbestos is most likely to be found in older pipe wraps and cement, roofing felt, fireproofing material, vinyl floor tile, wallboard, roof coatings, and insulation. Number 6, how do you test for asbestos? The general proceedings are as follows. All ventilation and air circulation systems should be shut off. The area being tested should be sealed, and people other than the tester should be kept away. The tester will put on protective clothing and a face mask with a HEPA filter. They will then lay plastic sheeting below the area where samples are to be taken, spray the area with water, cut a sample of the material, place it in a sealed container, and send the material to a lab for testing. And finally, number 7, can I test for asbestos myself? While in some states it may be legal to do so, it is not generally a good idea. Asbestos testing should be done by an EPA-licensed contractor. This is to ensure that proper safety precautions are undertaken and that your health won't be compromised. But now that we've covered the basics of asbestos surveys, let's return to the Malibu school break-in. In 2010, the school hired a contractor to remove contaminated soil from the quad. Shortly after, several teachers began to complain of health issues and demanded asbestos, mold, and other environmental testing throughout the school. Their ailments ignited a fierce battle that saw the involvement of Cindy Crawford, as well as an illegal break-in. After the complaints were received, the school hired an environmental consultant to test the air and dust in several classrooms. Asbestos did not come up, but the test did reveal the presence of PCBs, another potentially toxic material. The classrooms were cleaned, and further testing indicated that PCB levels were either non-detected or well below the EPA health-based benchmarks. It was at this point that several parents broke into the school to collect caulk samples. They believed that the school's caulking should be tested, not just air and dust, and that all PCB-containing materials should be removed. Meanwhile, Cindy Crawford, a parent of 2 children at Malibu High, went on national television and offered to pay for further testing of the caulk. Now, in the case of Malibu High, the materials in question were PCBs, but asbestos in schools is a national concern, and the people most affected are not the rich and famous. For example, in the Lewis C. Cassidy Elementary School in Philadelphia, students stored their backpacks and lunches in a closet where levels of asbestos-containing dust were 50 times higher than the asbestos dust generated by the 9/11 attacks. A problem that is repeated in other schools across Philadelphia and the country. Unfortunately, asbestos materials are still widespread in homes, offices, and school buildings, which is why it is important to complete an asbestos survey before renovating or demolishing a structure. But what happened in the case of Malibu High? The school district eventually agreed to remove PCB-containing material from various buildings. Sadly, such removal programs are not mirrored in the many less wealthy neighborhoods that are at greatest risk for environmental contamination. But what do you think? Do you have any stories about asbestos surveys? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this video? You're going to love our Gokce Land Due Diligence program. We'll make you a land due diligence expert in just 7 days. Check it out at gokcecapital.com/glad. And while you're at our website, don't forget to explore our $1 down listings at gokcecapital.com/listings. Finally, don't hesitate to reach out. You can email, call, or text, and we will respond as soon as possible. So thank you for listening, and more to come.